Good evening.
I'm Mauli Davis. I'm the pre-law program coordinator, and for some of the students here, I'm also their professor for the pre-law colloquium, and so they had a quiz today, so if they're looking a little frazzled, it's okay. They're gonna be all right. They are great students. It's an honor. This has been a long time coming, and it's really an honor to be able to have our judges from Clark Atlanta University here with us. Can we give it up? It really speaks volumes about their experience here at CAU, their willingness to come back, to pour into you, young people, so that we can keep building the next generation of legal minds, of judges, of great lawyers. And so I want to bring forward our dean, as well as the department chair, Dean Chris Bass. Dr. Bass, would you come up? And Dr. Kurt Young, the chair of the Dr. Matthew Jones Political Science Department.
All right, greetings everyone.
Greetings.
All right, first I just have to begin by saying thank you to the panel of judges to my left. As Professor Davis, you're going to get used to us saying Professor Davis. You may know him as Attorney Davis. We're going to call him Professor Davis. As Professor Davis just said, this is a long time in the making. I came back to Clark Atlanta University back in 2013, and I had a number of objectives. One of them was just to mention a few, was to reestablish the Southern Center for Studies in Public Policy. It's now a reality. The title now, under the leadership of President French, is the W.E.B. Du Bois Southern Center for Studies in Public Policy. And that entity is the tip of our research spear in the Department of Political Science. We wanted to re-establish and strengthen our student organizations, including the Ujamaa Society, the Political Science Association, and the Pre-Law Society. I'll say more about that in a second. We wanted to increase our intellectual footprint across the country and internationally, so we're publishing like wow men and women in our department now. But one of those objectives was to establish a nationally leading pre-law program. Now, as you all know, the pre-law program has always been here. But over the years, I'm sad to say that it went into some type of decline. The pre-law society was thriving. But the pre-law program as an institution hadn't kept up with the young people. And that was shameful on our part. We owed our students much more than that. So we decided that we would commit ourselves to establishing the preeminent pre-law program in the country. And that's our goal. We want to have the best pre-law program in the entire nation, particularly among the HBCUs and our competitor institutions. Now that had to start with hiring faculty who can serve as an advisor for the pre-law program. And Professor Layla Scaife Johnson served in that role since she joined us a couple years ago.
Stand up.
Is she here? Yes. It also included increasing the number of experts in the pre-law program. So imagine someone like me who teaches international relations and Pan-African politics, teaching constitutional law. I know a little something about it, but it's not right for me to teach that class, right? And so what we thought that we would do is to take advantage of the legal minds in the city who can come to the campus and in some cases come home to teach our students that craft that although we can cite the Constitution inside out, we can't really prepare students properly for law school. And so that meant not just hiring faculty, attorneys in the city, but to identify a force of nature in the city that no one else had. And so although he's very humble in giving us credit as a department, that made it a priority to hire Professor Mauli Davis, who is now, he has a new title that never existed at Clark Atlanta University before, I don't think anywhere in the AUC, which is Senior Lecturer for Law and Politics. That just happened I guess, a few months ago, right? And it's a reflection of the extent to which our provost, Dr. Charlene Gilbert, President George T. French, and Board of Trustees placed their support behind the vision that we have in political science. So I tell you that story to say now, to see you all here, the word that I have to describe how I'm feeling right now is I'm just overwhelmed with pride. I'm just really proud to see this. And I want to take the moment to say to Judge Cooper, one of the tasks that I took on was to write a report and to deliver to President French. And the purpose of the report was to demonstrate the intellectual, political, and legal footprint of our department across the United States and the world. So that report now is about 74 pages. In section 2 of that report, we have our receipts. We show where all our people are all over the world. And so I said to myself, I have to find out where our senior judges are. And prior to that point, that was 2019. Prior to that, I hadn't done the work. And so I was much more familiar with you out of that report than I am now. And up to this point, I'm just really overwhelmed to see you standing right here, sitting right here beside us, because you were one of the most important names in that report. And I just wasn't aware of it until I dug into it. So I say all of that, everyone, to say thank you so much. And I really want to say thank you to the students who have embraced the program. They're flocking to us. And we look forward to continue to grow this program, both for our students in the Department of Political Science and students from other departments around the AUC. Thank you again, you all. Thank you for joining us, and we appreciate everyone. And please enjoy the program tonight.
Good evening.
Good evening.
First, I stand up here wearing two hats. The first hat that I wear is as the Dean of Arts and Sciences, which I'm honored, as always, to support this spear, this tip of the spear in arts and sciences, which is political science. I'm excited to see what's going to happen tonight, but it shouldn't come as a surprise to me, because when I tell you that this particular department is really running the spear all the way out, not just on campus, not in the Atlanta University Center, but all over the country, all over the world. This particular program is amazing. This particular department is amazing. So I stand here as a proud dean. But on the other side, I stand as a proud alum. So as an alum of this wonderful institution, this has never been done before. I want you to understand that this is history in the making right here. When was the last time you saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 judges in one space? We can all throw up the thing that I throw up every single day that I'm on campus. This is an amazing event from an amazing department with amazing leadership. So I thank you all for being here tonight. I thank you all for being here tonight. Welcome home. Whether you graduated from Clark College or Clark Atlanta University, we welcome you back home.
Thank you.
So, of course, we have to acknowledge Judge Cooper. This is a living legend. Class of '64, Clark College. First African-American full-time judge in Atlanta Municipal Court. First African-American elected judge in Fulton County. And then appointed as a federal judge by President Bill Clinton. This is the best that we have had come through our university. And so we wanted to, and we asked the judges to wear their robes because we want to capture this moment. We want you all, young people, to see what Black excellence looks like in the flesh, right? From the very places that Judge Cooper said he once sat in these very seats, in this very auditorium. And so this is history, as Dean Bass has stated. And so Judge Cooper and judges, if you all wouldn't mind coming up, as well as Dr. Young, Dr. Bass, if we could come front and center so we can present Judge Cooper, if you wouldn't mind.
like.
We're gonna step in front so everybody can see this presentation of this Lifetime Achievement Award from the Dr. McHenry Jones Political Science Department Pre-Law Program. So this is the first, not the last, but the first that we will present to our judges who have earned a lifetime achievement. And so with that, Judge Cooper, I bet you come around this way. Y'all want to come and I'll let you all present. Hold on, we have our official photographer. I know we have a lot of photographers. There is an official.
Yeah, take mine.
All right, 1, 2. Good. More, 1, 2. Good.
And before our judges, we would like to present them
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
with tokens of our appreciation. And if I could just read it. In honor of distinguished judicial service presented to each of the judges on behalf of the Dr. McHenry Jones Political Science Department at Clark Atlanta University Pre-Law Program, we proudly recognize your service as a distinguished judge with profound appreciation for your service as a guiding light for the next generation of Clark Atlanta University attorneys and advocates.
All right, 1, 2. More.
Thank you. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We have one more. One more thing I want, if I can give Judge Johnson the mic. 1, 2.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. I will be brief. I just want to take a moment as we recognize Judge Clarence Cooper. You all are looking at a legend in the making, and he has been such an honor for our institution, not only for our institution, but for our city of Atlanta, for our county of Fulton, and for the district of Georgia, the Northern District of Georgia on the federal court. And so the chambers that I occupy in the Fulton County Courthouse is actually the chambers that he once occupied. And so with that, I have commissioned a portrait of him to hang in the courtroom, if he'll let me. And so I want to unveil that portrait here today. We won't read it, but this goes on because it's so long. And so I want to commemorate his accomplishments and his impact on the Fulton County Courthouse. Congratulations, Judge Cooper. Thank you.
And before you all sit, can we have our pre-law program committee members, Dr. Stave, Professor Morgan, can you all come up? Come on up if you're a part of the pre-law program committee, please come up. Students as well, the students who are part of the pre-law committee, come up. So just as they're coming, I just want to explain what we're doing. We've established the pre-law program or reestablished it, and so of course, you really can't establish anything anywhere without young people's involvement. And so we've been very intentional about recruiting students who have demonstrated student leadership here on campus to be a part of our committee. And so these are our committee members who have been outstanding. And so we have an application that's open right now, students. April 18th is the deadline. If you want to be a pre-law program scholar, please join us in this work. And so if we can get one more picture with everybody here. Yep. We got one. You can't talk to us. Come on, still right here. All right. One more shot. We got it here. Got it.
All right, all eyes, 1, 2. One more. Good, thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. And Judge, if you would, Judge Cooper, if you wouldn't mind, when I say judge, everybody look up. That's what happens. I also want to recognize Brother Daniel Brown from, can you stand up? Daniel is the president of what we call GQuad-A, the Georgia Association of African American Attorneys. He came here at our request to support our program. We also have GABA, the Georgia Association of Black Women Attorneys, represented here. We also have the Cab Lawyers Association represented, as well as Gate City Bar Association. But Daniel, thank you for taking time, President. We appreciate you. So Judge Cooper, do you want to speak sitting or standing? Of course.
I need the podium at my age.
Podium is yours.
I need to hold on and lean on everything I can. And I want to thank everybody associated with this program. Mr. Bass, Attorney Davis.
Judge, slide over in front of the microphone.
Thank you. And Dr. Young. I'm indeed honored and humbled to have been chosen the recipient of the Lifetime Achievement Award from my alma mater, CAU, a place that shaped not only my education, but also my values, my aspirations, my dreams, and my sense of purpose. Standing here tonight, I'm reminded that success is never a solo journey. It is built upon the foundation of mentors, family, friends, and institutions like this one that believe in us even before we fully believe in ourselves. To the students and future leaders in this room, I encourage you to dream boldly, work tirelessly, and always lift up those who come after you. I accept this award not just as a recognition of my past achievements, but as a challenge to continue serving, to continue inspiring, and to continue giving back and reaching back. In closing, I want to thank CAU and everyone associated with this award for conferring this great honor upon me. Thank you, and God bless you.
I feel like you can go home now.
Me too. The box.
Wow.
The box for his award. The box.
Very
The box for his award.
grateful for our judges in this opportunity. And we want to have this rich conversation because every judge sitting here has had a journey. And so we're going to ask them, and you know, this is a real privilege for me and very rare that I get to ask the judge to limit their commentary. They're normally telling me, to be quiet, or that's enough. But we're going to ask that each of them start out with just giving us about 3 minutes of their journey from CAU. Because again, we want you all to see yourselves as they have walked this campus. They was all still kind of trying to figure out what was going on today. Like this hump day that's happening. They were like, what's this? Apparently it did not exist when they were here on campus, but welcome home. So we'll start and just work our way down, if you all wouldn't mind taking a few minutes to talk about your major and kind of how you matriculated through and go from there. So.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am Shakura Ingram, and no, we did not have hump day. Let me tell you what we did have. This walk that y'all have right here, this promenade, that's what we had.
Yeah.
When it was nice outside, especially Friday, about 3 o'clock, when I had math and McFeeder's dentist, it was really hard to get to class. Because this street right here would be packed with people from all over the AUC. So we didn't have hump day, but we had the promenade, which was our hangout spot. So I came to Clark, Atlanta in the fall of 1991 from the Chicago area. And if you were at the last event, you heard me say this. I came in as a shy, introvert, high school graduate, 17 years old, and left here 4 years later, full of confidence, a campus leader, headed to law school. And as Judge Cooper just said, Clark Atlanta for me was a place that believed in me before I believed in myself, and really developed me as a leader. I went directly to law school. I went to Georgia State University College of Law. And when I finished law school, I've never left Atlanta since I came at 17. I began my career as an assistant solicitor in a court that doesn't exist anymore, but it was our old traffic court. It was the city court of Atlanta. And I worked there for a couple of years, and then I became an assistant district attorney here in Fulton County. And after being a prosecutor for 8 years, I knew then that I wanted to be a judge. And for me, it was important that I had both criminal and civil experience. And so I sought out a law firm, and I went to work at the oldest black law firm in Atlanta, Thomas Kennedy Sampson and Tompkins now, that's the name of it. And I worked there for 8 years, and I was a civil litigator there. And after practicing for 16 years, I was appointed to the Fulton County Magistrate Court, and I worked there for 3 years, and then Governor Nathan Deal appointed me to finish the unexpired term of Judge Alfred Dempsey, who was a Morehouse College graduate and had served on our bench. He retired early, and so I was appointed to finish his term, and then I've since then been reelected to my seat twice. And so I'm continuing to serve there, and on the Superior Court, I handle a little bit of everything: civil cases, felony criminal cases, the worst of the worst, but then I do a little bit of the good, the adoptions, and things that make me smile. So that was my path.
Thank you.
And I'm a class of 95. You'll see a pattern.
Good evening. I am Sonia Natasha Brown, and we'll get to why I say Natasha. I came to Clark Atlanta from the Bahamas, and and I was a mass media arts major with a concentration in radio, TV, film. So growing up, there were two things that I wanted to be: a lawyer or a newscaster. Those are the only two things. So when I graduated from Clark Atlanta, I had to make a decision, because if I was going to go back home to the Bahamas, I would have to go to law school in England or the University of West Indies in Jamaica, because the Bahamas is a Commonwealth country, and so you have to have British law to study there. So I wasn't quite ready to leave Atlanta yet, so I worked for 5 years before I went to law school, and I worked for a communications company. That was my major. And I knew that I wanted to do law. I didn't want to go to England. And so I decided to stay here. I enrolled at Atlanta John Marshall's Law School, and I worked full-time while I was also in law school. And when I graduated, I had an opportunity to stay on at the company where I was working, and I worked in-house as staff counsel, and that was my goal. That's what I was going to do. My goal was to be the general counsel of some big Fortune 500 company. And then I said I needed a little more. And I happened to have the opportunity to become acquainted and become friends with one of Judge Ingram's colleagues, Judge Kimberly Esmond Adams, who was working in the Fulton DA's office at the time. And she walked my resume in, and that's where I worked with Judge Ingram and Judge Johnson. And I served there in several capacities, including Crimes Against Women and Children, which is known as Special Victims Unit in a lot of places. I moved from there to the DeKalb County Solicitor General's office, where I served on the executive leadership, and I was the deputy over the Special Victims Unit dealing with domestic violence cases. Then I went to the DeKalb County District Attorney's Office, where I began a crime strategies unit, which is the first of its kind in Georgia. So after serving, in 2020, our first African-American woman on the Cobb County Superior Court judge where I served was elected, and she had been serving as a magistrate court judge. And so I applied. And summer of 2020 was very difficult for me, as it was for many people. Besides COVID, we saw things happening in our community. And I needed to do something more and figure out what my next step was. Because unlike a lot of my colleagues and my friends here, I did not want to be a judge. That was not the plan. And I served for 2 years as a magistrate court judge. There was an opening on the Superior Court, and I ran. And I had 4 other people in my race, and I won that race in 2022. And thank you. And so I am the third African-American woman to serve in Cobb County, the first 2 only beginning their service in 2021. So 2 years later, there were 3. And like Judge Ingram, I do the felony cases as well as civil, but I also do domestic cases. So anything that involves divorce, child support, custody, and adoptions. And I get to swear in new attorneys, which is another great thing that we get to do. And I am also a class of 1995 with Judge Ingram.
Good evening. My name is Kenya Johnson, and I serve as your elected Fulton County Probate Court Judge. I came here from Chicago, my homeboy Natalie and Shakura, and so I always knew I wanted to be a judge. I looked at my senior memory book recently and saw that I had written it in there, but I didn't have a path to do it. So I went through college, and I knew I wanted to go to law school. I didn't have a job right after college, so I said, you know what, I guess this is my sign that I should go to law school. And I took the LSAT, and I didn't score very high on the LSAT. It was around Freaknik, and I was so I didn't get into the schools that I wanted to, but someone took a chance on me, and there are several tiers of law schools that will accept. There's some open admissions law schools. There are law schools that let you come in and you can do a year to see if they let you come in. You need to do your second and third year. And so I didn't have to do those programs, but it was good to know that they were available. So I went to a small school in Houston, Texas called South Texas College of Law, because that's where they let me in. And so, but I wanted, the whole time, my head was back in Atlanta, and I wanted to come back. And so I did 2 years there, and then I was able to transfer to Georgia State College of Law. So as soon as I got out of law school, I wondered, what should I do? And I had a good friend, Shakura Ingram, who was a traffic court prosecutor. She walked me and my application in, and I became a traffic court prosecutor doing speeding and red light and DUIs. After a few years of prosecuting on the municipal level, I then went to the Fulton County DA's office and began prosecuting felonies. And I served for many years as also a community prosecutor. And that was my opportunity, and I worked with Sonia as a community prosecutor, a chance to really get a feel for the community, what the crime concerns were in my community, and I fashioned solutions individual to communities. And so I loved that work, and people would always say to me, are you running, or you should run? But I never thought I would run for office, but I didn't know how I would get to be a judge. And so it was around 2012 maybe that I auditioned for a legal television show, just for fun, for giggles. And I got the lead role in that television show. And from that television show, and it was a crime and murder type show, all sorts of opportunities came. Sonia and I hosted a television show called Legally Speaking for several years. And then from that show, I started to get called on CNN and HLN and these different crime networks, Court TV. And so it got to a point that I was doing so much television that I was invited to New York to audition for the Law and Crime Network. And I was offered a lead anchor position. So right in the middle of my career prosecuting, I'm offered this chance to take a complete pivot and move me and my family to New York and begin to be a legal correspondent. But, you know, those kind of jobs don't last long. Right. And I thought, you know, do I want to try and hopefully, and maybe I'll make it big and maybe I'll become a judge on TV. But then I made the choice that it was better for my family to remain here in Atlanta, and I turned that down, but I still wanted to be a judge, and so then I found out about an open seat. There was a judge that was retiring, and so I ran a race with 3 people. I was the only minority in that race, and I won without a runoff, first time in history. And so running for office is about running for the right office at the right time. And it was right around 2020, George Floyd. It was a very emotional time. And the governor sent absentee ballots to every single voter because many people were uncomfortable going to the polls in the middle of COVID. And so it was one of the highest voter turnouts ever, and the stars aligned. And so now I am the probate judge. I'm out of prosecution, and now I work on estate planning, and I work on intergenerational wealth and affordable housing, and helping people leave a legacy through leaving their belongings and leaving their property for other generations. So I have a mission, and I feel like this is where I should be to help my people, and Clark Atlanta helped me get here.
What class are you?
I'm the class of 1995, and we were many of us were poli-sci majors, and I was in class with each one of these ladies.
Wow.
Okay. So my name is Karen Cloud, and I am a third generation Atlantan. I am very proud to say that my grandmother was a graduate of the class of 1945, Clark College. And so when I graduated in 1995, she was celebrating her 50th reunion, and so we got to march together.
Oh, man.
And we did not get one picture.
Oh, no.
My path at Clark Atlanta was a little different. I was a mass comm major with Tasha, that's what we call her, Judge Brown. And I really thought I was going to be Monica Kaufman, the next door down Monica Pearson. But I spent a summer working with some young people. They were like 13 to 16 years old. And when I finished that summer working as a camp counselor, I literally fallen in love with these kids. And I came back to school in the fall of my junior year trying to figure out what can I do, what kind of career can I have that will allow me to work with youth and to have an impact on their futures. And I tell this story all the time. She always says, oh, it's not true, but it is. I was talking in the hallway in Mass Comm to Tasha, to Judge Brown, and she was going on and on about, I'm going to go to law school, I'm going to do this and that. And I just remember thinking, law school, maybe that's the way, maybe that's what I need to do. And she literally planted the seed for law school in my brain.
Wow.
Yes, it literally happened just like that. And so I ended up going to the University of Georgia Law School. Some little person on this panel followed me there. was, solely focused on practicing juvenile law. I have a very different path from really everybody else on the panel because I knew I wanted to go into public interest law. And so I crafted my entire law school experience around public interest and working with children and families, and was very fortunate at the University of Georgia. They had a number of practicums and externship opportunities that really allowed me to become really an expert coming out of law school in juvenile justice. And so I worked for a nonprofit for about 18 years, the Truancy Intervention Project Georgia. It's a very long time, but that job gave me the opportunity to really figure out who I was as an attorney and as an advocate, and really gave me the freedom to do all different kinds of things. And so I stayed for a long time because there really was a family environment at that job. But at a point, I knew I needed to do something different, kind of explore some different sides to the legal experience, because I spent all that time representing children, being a defense attorney for children. And I went to the Fulton County Juvenile Court and became their court program administrator. So I was over all the programming for the court because I really felt that there was a lack of quality programming in place for our youth. And from there, I became the Deputy Chief Administrative Officer of the court, so I was basically responsible for the largest juvenile court in the Southeast, right as COVID hit, and our Chief Administrative Officer retired, left, and so it was all left to me. But it was a wonderful experience, and just kind of helped me to push my boundaries a little bit. And then from there, I became the legal policy director for another nonprofit, Georgia Appleseed. And I had actually applied for the judgeship at a couple of different times in our court. And by the time this position came open, I really had changed my mind. I just decided, I'm very happy doing the work that I'm doing. And I just started getting these calls. And it wasn't until the day before, remembers this probably, the day before the applications were due, at 11:30 at night, I finally decided to apply. And
Thanks to Anderson.
yes, and my child told me, my now 17-year-old, yes, he did. He told me, he's like, you don't know what's going to happen. Just apply. Don't be afraid to apply for something. It was like a little adult talking to me. So arduous process, but was appointed, and I just celebrated my first full year. It really has. I'm just very honored to be able to serve the community that I grew up in, and my entire family basically has grown up in. So, just happy.
What class are you? Oh, I'm sorry.
And I'm the class of 1995.
That was a great year.
Yeah.
I got married that year.
Oh, yeah.
I'm the class of 1996. I think to really understand my journey to becoming a judge, you have to really understand where I started. So when I was 7 years old, the police came to my house to arrest my father. He did not open the door. A 7-year-old me didn't understand why. He told me he needed a lawyer to fix it. If you know anything about me, or if this is your first time meeting me, I'm very direct and blunt about that I am the daughter of a junkie. My father has a very rocky love affair with crack cocaine and has since 1978. So we have lived a very rocky life. But 7-year-old me just wanted to help her dad. So he said he needed a lawyer. I said, I'll be a lawyer, because I just want to help my dad. 2 years later, my neighbor and friend, he was mentally challenged, much older than me, but we played together almost every day. He was arrested for something that I knew at 9 years old he was not capable of doing. He did not have the mental capacity, let alone the physical capacity to do it, and I am 9 years old and understand this. They took that little boy away, and he never came back home. I didn't understand it. I kept expecting for him to come back home. My daddy then tells me he never had a fair shot because the judge didn't look like us. I decided at 9 years old I was going to be a judge. No idea that a lawyer and a judge are related, that you have to become a lawyer to become a judge. I just wanted to help my dad and help my friend. But from 9 until 39, when I became a judge, I never veered. I always knew I was going to be a lawyer. I always knew I was going to be a judge. My path is very different from everybody else's. 1, I never practiced criminal law. 2, I was never uncertain about what I was going to do. 2, I never practiced criminal law. I had a very different upbringing in the sense of the people who influenced me were in politics. And they ran political campaigns, and what I could see is what I call kingmakers. They were the ones who were making the decisions. And so because I knew that I wanted to become a judge one day, I learned everything I could about politics, not criminal law. I volunteered, I worked every position, and very, very quickly I learned the person that has the purse is the one that wins and makes the decisions. So I got really good at fundraising. I raised $500,000 for President Barack Obama with small donations. Yeah. I raised $250,000 for the mayor who appointed me, Kasim Reed. So I always knew what I wanted to be and how I was going to get there. Wow. But here's the part that I did know. I was originally supposed to go to UGA for undergrad and law school. My daddy told me that every governor, up until our recent governor, every governor prior to then graduated from the University of Georgia. I'm real simple. It's not broken, don't fix it. I'm going to the University of Georgia. I got a presidential scholarship to the University of Georgia. April of 1992, I come visit Clark Atlanta University. From the moment I stepped foot on campus, I knew this was home and where I was supposed to be. Yes, you can clap for it was an out-of-body experience. It was the first time as a young black girl from the ghetto with a crack cocaine addicted father who loved me very much, but yet and still I dealt with a lot in my life, felt comfortable 100% in my skin. I can't tell you how priceless that is. That's the confidence that makes you believe you can do absolutely anything, whether you know, like me, or don't know. But Clark Atlanta provided the cape I needed to go change the world. And people may feel like, what do you mean change the world? Like, it's not, you're just a judge. And I didn't cure cancer. I didn't go to the moon. But where I'm from, the poorest zip code in the state of Florida, it's equivalent to that. I was never supposed to make it out. I'm the only person in my 6th grade class that graduated from high school and wasn't pregnant by the time she was 15. Clark Atlanta, as Judge Cooper said, believed in me when no one else did but me. Because I always believed in me. I will forever love Clark Atlanta because it changed the trajectory of my family's life. I am the first college graduate on both sides of my family. part you should clap for. There's a doctor behind me, there are 2 nurses behind me, there are a dozen of college graduates behind me. Both of my children, my daughter is in college, my son is headed to college. That's the part that I'm proud of. Because that's what Clark Atlanta gave me and my family. Not just me and my family. It changed the trajectory of our lives, of our legacy. And that is why I'm here tonight.
Y'all can just say amen. I knew tonight would be powerful because this is Women's History Month, and these are some powerful Black women who I've had the honor of knowing. This isn't my first time meeting them. I've known them in different capacities. I have looked up to them. I've admired them. I've even gone to battle with a couple of them. We duked it out. Could you all, I just want to kind of do a compound question, which I know we're not permitted to do, but just if you would, as Black women, I think it's important for you to talk about some of your challenges and how you have, as a judge even, you know, how you navigated, and then any advice that you would give these young people about their journey. And obviously we got a lot from what you shared, but just a word or two about here's what, if you were talking when you were in 95 or 96, right before you would get ready to come out, what you would have told yourself back then, if you all wouldn't mind. And we'll start this way and work down. Okay.
Yeah, I think I am the one to start this question. So I'm going to go to present day and back. For 5 years, I was attacked as a judge. My integrity, my character, my work ethic was attacked so much that they tried to remove me from the bench. 5 years. God bless you. My lawyer told me he was interested, so he did a pet project on his own. He investigated how many stories had been done on me, a municipal court judge, misdemeanor criminal judge, versus every other judge in the state of Georgia. They did more stories, negative stories, on me than they had done in modern history of the state of any other judge at any other time. The hardest part about that, what I was most concerned about, were my children. So, again, I give you a little background about me. I got calls after calls. Are you okay? What can we do? Is it true? People who know you doubting you. My dad called me and told me to hold my head high and don't dare let anyone see me with my head held down. I did not. It never even crossed my mind. See, and I told my dad, we have a very honest relationship. You know how many times I've been in a crack house to get you? It's really getting hard to embarrass someone who's been in a crack house to get their daddy on a regular basis. I walk around with my head held high because I know where I come from and I know who I am and I know what I have and have not done. And I worked for this job since I was 9 years old. I'd be damned if I'm gonna let anybody take it from me. So I fought them. That's my message. I fought them. But I've been fighting my whole life. That's the message I have for 19-year-old you, 25-year-old you, 35-year-old you. I don't care who you are. As a Black woman, I'm sorry. I'm not the empathy person. This is our. Be ready and prepared to fight. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. The more successful you become, the more you better be really good at fighting. Because they are coming for you. Because they come for our best and our brightest. And you have to be prepared to fight. So that means that right now, prepare for the fight. Don't wait for the fight to come to you. One of the most insulting things that happened during this process was a white man who was interviewing me during my interview about what I had or had not done improperly, told me that my documents were fraudulent because he'd never seen a judge with that many records. I didn't have records of my daily calendar and my decisions because I was worried about the Judicial Qualification Commission. I had records because I am from the ghetto and I understand that judges' decisions impact real people, real lives, and real families. And if I make a mistake, if the computer goes down, if nobody else knows, I want to be able to go back and figure out what I did, because we're talking about somebody's freedoms. Had nothing to do with me trying to prove that I'm doing my job. But by the grace of God, because I was prepared, I was able to show when I'm at work, to show the work that I had done. So that is my message. Always be prepared. Be prepared for the fight, but here's the good one. Be prepared for the victory. Because we win. I'm still sitting here in front of you today as a judge with my job, and I tell people all the time, I'm going to die on the bench of municipal court, and I ain't going nowhere, because I have a job that I love and that God has blessed me with, and I am going to spend my whole life serving the people around me.
Hey, they gonna carry me out.
Go ahead, Judge. You like, okay.
I don't even remember the question.
Challenges and advice.
A little bit of advice.
All right.
And everybody, please, I know my class ends at 8:30, but we're going to go a little over, so just sit tight.
Let me see. I think that one of the things that, as a Black woman, I have a very different experience from Tierney, from Judge Gundy and other people, in that I grew up here in Atlanta, and so my middle school was like an HBCU, my high school was like an HBCU, and so I always felt very comfortable, kind of in my own skin, and it really wasn't until I got to the University of Georgia, where I just was faced with situations that I didn't understand. I didn't understand how somebody could be sitting in class next to me and like, oh, let me see your notes, and then you would see them the next day walking down the hall, and it was literally like you weren't even there. And so my first year experience at the University of Georgia was as challenging as law school was. I think as a Black woman, it was equally as challenging because I started to feel invisible. It was literally, it was just like you're not there. And so I kind of, by the time Judge Gundy got here the next year, she did. She was my respite. Because I had just kind of decided I'm just not going to try anymore with most of my classmates. There were only 11 Black students in my class of over 200. And it was a very isolating experience for me. And so what I had to keep telling myself was, you belong here. You are supposed to be here. You are on the right path. You do know what you're doing. You know what you're trying to do. So even if no one else believes in you or kind of no one else sees you, remember who you are. Remember who Clark Atlanta told you that you were. Remember who your grandma and your mom, remember who you are. And that was a very challenging environment for me to do that. But what it did was it created an opportunity for me to go into the workspace and be in these nonprofits and work with all of these attorneys and men who didn't look like me in these big firms and still feel comfortable in my skin. Because the other thing that I faced was I wasn't going into big law, I wasn't going to criminal law, I was doing public interest, which, was kind of like, at the time, kind of kooky. People were like, public interest, why are you doing that? But it's the work that you do if you really want to serve the community in certain ways. And so I think I would just have to tell my young self, to just always don't let anybody else tell you who you are. You know who you are, you know what you're capable of, and just continue to lean into that and lean on that, and then lean on your village, who they can remind you. Tyria came and was able to remind me. Yeah.
We're in the best shape of our life.
So when we talk about challenges, my biggest challenge was right after I graduated law school. Part of the process of becoming a lawyer is you have to become certified as fit to become a lawyer. This is sort of a background check. They check your credit, they check your criminal record, they check your recommendations. And so I had studied for the bar with my friends, and about 2 weeks before the bar results came out, and this is, you're anxiously awaiting those results, I get a letter saying you're not going to get your bar results, but instead you're going to have a hearing to determine whether you should ever get your bar results. And so everyone got their bar results, and I just had to say, well, I have a hearing, but I didn't know what was going on. So when I went into the hearing, they pulled out a file, and they began to question me about a rental furniture bill from a bad roommate situation.
Wow.
Then they asked me about, well, why do you have an Illinois driver's license, but you live in Georgia, you went to law school, but you're registered to vote in Texas? Just life things that I never really put together that may have made it seem like I'm not who I said I was, or I don't know what they thought. But the credit was a really big thing, and having debts, many lawyers get disbarred for mishandling client funds, so they want to make sure that you're not in a situation where you're tempted to take bribes or do something. And so I just had things on my credit, and many minority students who barely got through college may have a few things on their credit. And so basically, that process took me about a year and a half. Wow. So I pretty much worked as a paralegal and scraped things together. But every month I would check in and say, did you all review my file? Did it go through the committee? Did the committee approve it? Well, I think I angered my case manager, and she kept postponing it. So a year later, once I paid off all my debts and submitted everything, they told me, oh yeah, well, we decided you're certified fit to be a lawyer, and by the way, you passed the bar. Damn. And so it was just so unceremonious, the way that I found out. But what I would tell my younger self through that process, in that year and a half that I had a law degree, but I wasn't a lawyer. And I didn't know what to do. So I started to look into alternate careers with a JD. I was going to be a lobbyist. I was just thinking of all these things that I could make more than average money, but close to lawyer money without being a lawyer. But I would share with myself and with you all that when those challenges arise, for a brief moment, I started to question my mission, started to question, well, maybe I should have gotten a Texas driver's license, or just questioning some things that they raised. But they were really things that, I think the process was slightly racist, if you ask me, but I don't want to lean on that.
Just slightly.
But I just say that never question yourself. I mean, we can always improve and take those as lessons learned and go forward, but never question your mission, never question who you are, and never question what you believe is in store for you. And I did. A year and a half later, I became a lawyer. I can look back at it and laugh every time I pay my bills, and just know that I'm in the right place. And so, never question yourself.
Learning a lot about my friends for sitting here.
What?
So I'm gonna give y'all a very recent experience. As I told you all, I ran for Superior Court Judge in Cobb County. And if you are over the age of 30, you know that Cobb County looks a little differently today than it did when I moved there in 1997. We have 11 Superior Court judges in Cobb County. 3 of us are African American women. The other 2 women were elected in 2020. We took office in 2021. So Cobb looks very different. It still looks different.
Yeah.
But we're working to change it. So I had never worked in Cobb County. My career was in Fulton, my career was in DeKalb. And that was not simply by choice. When I was transitioning from corporate and wanted to come into prosecution, I sent resumes to Cobb County, my home county, to Fulton and DeKalb. Didn't have any trial experience, didn't have any criminal experience, but at least in Fulton and DeKalb, they're like, well, if you get some experience in the solicitor's office, maybe we'll look at you. I never got a response from my home county. Never got, not even to say that I wasn't even qualified, never got a response. And again, fortunately, I met Judge Adams and life happened the way it should happen. So when I got appointed to the bench in Cobb in 2020 for magistrate court, well, who is she? Where does she come from? Because the process, to give credit to our chief magistrate court judge, Brendan Murphy, when he got appointed in 2019 after our first Black woman, Joyette Holmes, who was the chief judge, became the first Black district attorney in Cobb, he got the position. He opened up the application process for the second time. Joyette did it the first time, and then Brendan Murphy did it. And he was told who we should hire and why and who should be appointed. But he said, no, there is something about you, and I had people who could speak up for me. And so when I got on the bench, it was all of this, well, who knows her? Nobody knows her. Where does she come from? And when the open seat came, as I said, there were 4 other people, I was literally told I wouldn't win because nobody in Cobb County knows me. So Cobb County, defined by certain people, is a 5-mile square radius called City of Marietta. Cobb County is 330 square miles that goes from Six Flags all the way to Ackworth. I live in Kennesaw. So I knew I was known in Cobb County, but the mindset around who should run and who should win was who was known, because they were generational. The seat that I took, the judge's seat that I took, served on the bench with his father. His father was also in Superior Court at the same time. The property where Town Center Mall sits was owned by his uncle, which was sold to the builders. He knew Ernest Barrett. That's Ernest Barrett Parkway. He knew, like, the generations, right? You know, Governor Barnes is a good friend, and they all grew up together. And here I was, even though I'd been in Cobb for 25 years, it was, who is she? Who is she? But I knew who I was, and I knew the relationships that I had built already that could sustain me. The money that I got didn't come from the Cobb County lawyers. It came from the people outside who I knew. Thank you,
Indeed.
Attorney Davis. Because they knew me and they knew my reputation. And so I did go to a runoff. There were 5 of us. You have to get 50+1 in Georgia to win an election. I was the top vote earner. As a white male. And let me say, there were 2 other African-American women. One of the African-American women was handpicked by the judge whose seat I was running for. So she was being paraded around. All of the money of all of the lawyers in Marietta were going towards her. And here I come, and I end up as a top vote getter. The phone call started ringing the next day. Oh, can we sit down with you, please? You know, it's because we knew him and he wanted to. And I'm like, I'm good. You can still write me a check today. But I had to remember that I knew I had a call. I knew because I didn't have the path of wanting to be a judge, that God had called me to that space and that place. And no matter who said that they didn't know me, I knew I was going to be on that bench. I had no doubt that I was going to win. Because I had to find a way and make one. And so I'm the first HBCU graduate to sit as a full-time or Superior Court judge. The other two great went to Ivy Leagues, and that's wonderful, that's great. But there is something pretty special that when you sit in a place like Clark Atlanta, what it teaches you who you are and what you can be. So what I would tell you and what I would tell my 19-year-old self is that when you walk into a room, fill it. When you walk into a space, fill it. Don't just be in the space, fill the space. They don't have to know your name, but when you walk out of the room, they will know your name. And so be confident in what you know, be confident in who you are. The 3 people that got elected before me two went to Penn, 1 went to Brown, and I said, I went to Clark Atlanta University. One exceptional university. And guess what? I do the same job that they do.
You get the same pay.
I get the same pay that they get. And I'll say this, and I don't say this to brag.
She's a better judge than them.
I don't say this to brag, but I have people that come up to me and say, you're my favorite judge. I love coming before you. I didn't know you. I didn't know what to expect, because guess what? It's the humanity that I see in the people that come before me. And the things that I learned at Clark Atlanta, how to be of service, how to be in service. That is my culture, right? To be of service. So when you walk into a room, hold that head high and fill the space. When you walk out, they should feel something leave with you. Because you fill the space so much that when you walk out, the oxygen is leaving with you, because that's how much your presence influences the places where you are.
So, my most recent challenge has been as it relates to my role. And I learned this kind of early on, or felt this kind of early on, so it's a little bit of vulnerability and transparency. And that is, even as I sit here today as a Superior Court judge, and I've been a judge generally for 10 years, I have never felt fully valued and accepted in my profession specifically by the bench and the bar. And I feel it in different ways. If I go to an event, and I don't mean an event like this, because we got us.
Yes,
Like, this always feels good. But what you see here, Atlanta and the metropolitan Atlanta area, you know, you can find black female judges. We are here, but we are not representative of this state.
Right.
We are not representative of this state. And so, when I go to events where judges and lawyers are, they walk right past me like, I'm not a judge.
Or I'm Judge Ingram.
Or they don't know who I am. All right, mistake me for any other black woman's name that they can come up with. But what I notice is when I walk into a room, we are still a very white male-dominated field. And so the white male judges walk in, people like just run to them, you know? They have questions, they want to engage, they want to have small talk, they want to network. If I walk in the room by myself, I'm literally looking for the black face, to find a friendly face. I'm looking for a friendly face. You know, some of these people practice in front of me, but they don't have any interest in getting to know me, shaking my hand, networking with me, or anything like that. Recently, we were just at a conference of only Superior Court judges, literally in a room, there's no one else there. And one of our white male colleagues mistaked me for the staff and asked me to get him some tea. This was just in January.
We were sitting at the table, yes, ma'am.
So, so that feeling, that not feeling fully accepted, what I've had to learn to do over these years is figure out how to, not because I'm not confident in myself, because I am, right? But I have definitely had to figure out for me that probably will never happen. And I get my validation, if you will, or that acceptance, if you will, from other places and other people and other networks. But this is still very much an environment where we are the minority, and they want to make us remember that you are the minority. So the advice that I would give you all is, you guys already know, because you're here, that education, in my opinion, is the great equalizer. So you're doing that piece. But I would tell you not to undervalue the nature of building relationships. In every place that you go, every stage of your life, be intentional about building relationships. You're gonna have the degree, this one, the next one, and the one after that. But we still live in a society where it is still about who you know. And sometimes to get the opportunity, we need to be able to pick up the phone and call somebody. There's not one of us that's on this stage that didn't have a relationship, even amongst ourselves,
That's right.
to help us get our foot into some door.
That's right.
And so we are able to do that because we were in Ware Hall together in 1991. And here we are, 30 years after graduation, still calling on each other, right? 4 of us classmates. They went to law school together. I mean, these relationships, they matter. And so you have to be intentional about building it. You're not gonna meet everybody and know everybody, but find people that you're gonna stay in touch with. Here and where you go next, because I guarantee you that you're going to need to call on somebody on some day about something, and you want to be that for the next person as well. So be intentional about your relationship building.
Can y'all give it up for our judges? Y'all can stand up. Y'all gotta really give it up. What an honor. They're going to, I want to call up 5 other Black people real quick, because I want to recognize them as well, because without them, this would not have happened. So Ryan, Ajaya, Alyssa, Nicole, and I think Ms. Beasley left. Did Ms. Beasley? So we will bless them up, bless her. Doc, if you could take it forward. I just want y'all to see, come on up, please, come on. Come on up on stage, yes. So I just want you all to know that these ladies have helped make this happen, and I wanted to give them some flowers for. So Alyssa works with Attorney Bray.
Who's Attorney Bray?
Attorney Rugine Bray is my law partner, who is the president of GABWA, and so she is
Say
always,
what it is. Say what GABWA is.
The Georgia Association of Black Women Attorneys. They run the state, okay? They run the Southeast. And so Alyssa has been working all the time in support of GABWA and in support of Attorney Bray, and she'll be going to law school in the fall. And Ajaya is about to graduate from Clark Atlanta University and has worked with our firm for the last 1.5 years. And this wonderful powerhouse of an attorney, I just want graduate of Spelman, graduate of Harvard Law, clerk for Judge Cooper, and every time I call her, she has just made it happen. I see her text, and she was like, oh, it was so beautiful. And so, thank you so much, Nicole. I really appreciate you. And then, my goddaughter now, I have adopted this young lady, Ryan Lewis, who is a graduate of Howard undergrad and is clerking with us for 2 years, has been awesome, and she's always with me, always helping build. But in order to get these 5 women up here, there were 5 women who helped us put all of this together and more. And I just wanted to take a moment to recognize it because it's a team thing, okay? And with that, I know that we have a special presentation, and I'll give the mic. Y'all gonna come around?
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll come around.
Thank you.
I'll take the mic. Dr. Young, if we could get you to come on up, please.
Alumni pens look good.
Yes. Come on, don't be shy. So I actually did major in political science with a minor in mathematics, thanks to Dr. Illinois. And I was a 5-year political science major thanks to Dr. Boone. Yes, he tried to make me go get a PhD, but I'm too much school. But I was contacted at the end of the year by a woman named Francesca. I went to lunch with her, and I wanted to give her flowers because I don't know Francesca from a can of paint. I don't know what department she works in, but she was singing your praises. And she told me that you guys had done a phenomenal job of getting a grant for the political science department, but it had to have some alumni student match. And so she said, I said, okay, what do you want me to do? She said, well, someone told me I should ask everybody for $1,000. I said, well, I'll give you $1,000. She's like, no, I wasn't asking you. I was just telling you what I was told. So I said, I'll give you $1,000, and I will ask my fellow judges to match my $1,000 so that we can give $5,000 towards this raise that you have to do by the end of the year. And without hesitation, everyone graciously stepped up immediately. It was like, no problem, I'm in. And so we just want to say thank you. We want to present this $5,000 donation.
Hey.
And we hope that, for sure, we know you will make your goal, but that we hope you get there very soon. Oh, they can't hear you.
So I kind of had a sense that something like this was going to happen. I wasn't supposed to find out, but I didn't realize that it was connected to the Southern Company's HBCU Sustainability Initiative. So a year ago, we won a $1 million grant to establish a endowed professorship in environmental justice and politics. And you all don't know the difficulty and the sleepless nights you've been struggling with the trick, trying to figure out how we can get the match, right? Because although it was a $1 million grant, we had to match half of it.
Right.
And so, that's no easy task, especially in this climate that we're in right now. And so this means more than I'm kind of speechless right now. And so I want to say thank you all so much. I appreciate it. I just wanted to come and hang out with y'all. And you all believe in this wonderful gift, and I thank you so much. We appreciate it.
No, thank you.
So, can everybody rise? And I want to just recognize my high school teammate from DSL, Daryl Bolton. He came all the way from Chicago with his family, his children. So I hope that his daughter to come out next year to hoop with us so she can be a part of the family. Dylan graduated from Morehouse last year, and my godchildren. So thank you, girl. Love you, man. So we have a special affirmation that we do because we always want to speak life into what we're doing. And so my students are going to use their outdoor voices, and those who are comfortable, you can repeat after them. And then we're going to close out. And of course, we want you to fellowship outside with the judges. And again, I'm sorry we didn't have time for Q&A, but this is family, as you can see. And how beautiful was it to see them interact with each other and to interact with us in such a transparent way. And so thank you all for answering our call, for getting all my text messages. They're like, who communicates with the judge via text but me, right? So thank you all. Thank you all for just, excuse my protocol. I appreciate you all. You all are friends. We're friends. Yes, ma'am.
Ladies, I just want to say thank you so much for being here, for always being here. I see familiar faces out. You always come out and support, but I do have a challenge for you. The next time you come to something like this, bring a black man with you. We have to lift up our voice. I know you're tired of hearing it. I know you don't think it's your responsibility, but it is. Because if you don't do it, no one else will. And we need them in the rooms. We need them to become lawyers. We need them to become judges. We need them to become doctors. But they have to come, and they follow women.
All right. Y'all gonna start us out?
I am an intelligent,
diligent,
committed student, prepared to serve my community, as a liberation lawyer. I will find a way or make one as I fight in the best interest of my people.
I am honing my skills. Raising my black consciousness. And developing my character. Because my future clients deserve greatness. I am becoming great. I am the answer. And nothing can stop me. I am the architect of a new African nation. That will heal our people. Of past trauma. And build a future. Where we will survive and thrive. I do. Deserve to have. Good things. Happen to me. I will. Measure my success. By the speed. Of my recovery. From broken dreams. I will be loyal. To my people. And the chain will not break here.
I say. Thank you.